Kia ora, Lara here, and I am creating a layout that has been scrap lifted from Scrappy Adam as part of his 1,000 subscribers YouTube hop. My name is Lara, but I'm known as Scrappykea on various social media. This is the sketch, or not the sketch, the layout that I'm going to be scrap lifting, and I'm going to be documenting a couple of photos from a bike ride that my husband and I participated in earlier this year. And I'm going to be using some leftovers, as you can see here, from the Wander collection by Close to My Heart. Now, this is a past collection. After I actually put this layout together, I was at a scrapbook camp and won even more of it as part of a lucky draw kind of raffle ticket kind of thing, which is pretty cool because it's one of those sets that are fabulous for having for documenting being out and about. Anyway, a couple of things with this YouTube hop. Scrappy Adam has a couple of giveaways on his channel, so be sure to check out the link to his below. And also there is a code that I'm going to put in the description below where you can access 10% off any orders at Dotty About Flair. Anyway, I am using some distress oxides here and a little bit of packaging to create a little bit of smudging and a little bit of mixed media kind of background, something going on in here. So I've just used my water brush and added a bit more water and then squishing that onto the page. And I love doing this. It's actually really fun. It reminds me of being an early childhood teacher. So before I went back to primary teaching, so while my kids were little, I retrained as an early childhood teacher. So I had a primary teaching diploma, but with kids with 3 under 3 and wanting to keep my hand in learning and also in teaching, I did some extra training at a university, and I was able to teach and get paid to teach my kids and others for a few years, which was awesome. And we used to get the finger paints out and the paints and get into stuff, and it was always fascinating watching how different children use the paints, and especially even looking at my own 3 children. One of them would line up the paints or line up the cotton wool buds that she was gluing onto cellophane or something in straight lines and nice even patterns, whereas the other one would like smear the cotton ball in glue and then smear it all over the page before finally settling on where she was going to stick it, and that might be it. So it was always just fascinating watching that process. But I'm trying to take the layout here that Adam had done, and he sort of got it in 2 sections. So there's a top section and a bottom left section, and so that's sort of what I'm playing around with here. So the mixed media was there just to create a nice background for that, and now I'm just going to back the photos. So the photo was taken, we were celebrating must have been our 22nd wedding anniversary, and we were a few days earlier because that was when we could get the time off work, and we did little parts of the rail trail, and sort of it wasn't too far from home, which is quite nice not to have to travel too far, and enjoyed some time out and about together, which was pretty cool. So I am using this Wander collection, and I'm just using some of the pieces of paper from it to back the various photos, and just pulling out some of those photos, the different colours that actually sort of help to lift the people, which is ourselves. It always seems a bit funny talking about that in kind of the third person, but trying to make the photo stand out from that background. Zip strips. It was what drew me to this layout of Adam's was I think the 2 different distinct areas, and I'm often clustering and centering photos or putting them in the same space, and I just quite liked the idea of separating the elements on the layout that Adam had done and trying to take that on board, because it's not something I would usually do. It's fun when we're doing these kind of celebration hops to give something else a go and to have permission to scrap lift them and use some of the different ideas and techniques that other people put in place. So this collection also had some chipboard elements, which are the ones that I'm just randomly or not so randomly trying to place on the layout, just sort of thinking where I'm going to put them, because in Adam's layout there was sort of a lot of clustered florals and things like that, and I'm not using the florals. I've gone away from those, but still using that same design or same concept as he had done. There will be other people participating in this hop as well, so you'll need to look down in the description below to see all of their links to their YouTube videos that they've created to celebrate Adam's 1,000 subscribers. So layering on these photos here and also popping in one of the Picture My Life cards behind it. So they have got some different elements, and just still sort of realizing that this isn't quite dry yet, but getting that dried up with the heat gun so that it's ready to take the adhesive, and so it will actually stick to the page. I had added quite a bit of moisture to it, so it is still quite wet before I was able to stick those photos down. So now we've got the photo in place up there, and I'm going to add in all of these other little elements that I had found when going through what was left from this kit. Probably should have sped this bit up a bit as I am looking at it now and doing this voiceover. It's sort of there's lots of little thinking bits, and I think this was one of those videos where I actually recorded the whole thing all at once rather than stopping and starting all the time. So there are little pauses as I think and work out what I'm going to place and where I'm going to place it. I do decide that I want this Picture My Life card, but I don't want all of it, so I'm just going to place that part of it down there, as well as adding in some other elements onto that little cluster area. So again, taking the main design from Adam's layout and replicating it in those separate little clusters. So these Picture My Life cards are pretty good. I love using them for journaling, for backing the photos as I've done up above. This year I'm even doing a sort of a week in the life or Project 52 type thing, and I'm using lots of the Picture My Life cards for those as well. So the other thing I've also done with the Picture My Life cards is cut them into little pieces, cut out the florals that are on them, cut out parts of them, use them as titles and all sorts of things. So you can probably find some of that if you look through the videos, but I love using them as extra little elements. Pulling out these frames here, and as I'm putting them on, I remembered a layout I did fairly early when this collection first came out, and basically the layout was a lot of these frames. The frames are pretty cool, and it's nice that they are a little bit of a thicker chipboard and not just the plain die cut type material, so it just gives that extra texture and extra shape on there. So there's quite a few words in the stickers as well as on these little chipboard shapes. I love using these, so I wish that more of the Close to My Heart collections did have this kind of thing, just because they give so much variety and option for us when we're creating with them. So I'm using the Tombow glue for those chipboard shapes because they are that little bit heavier, and I'm wanting to layer them up as well, so I'm sort of aware that I need to leave a bit more, have a little bit more pressure because the surface underneath isn't that even. So getting those on and getting them stuck down, and just sort of having to add a little bit of pressure to make sure they're going to stick and stay before I'm going to pop that journaling card back on there too. And some of the shapes that I haven't stuck down completely up the top, and getting them into place. I really like how this layout came out, and I'm really pleased that I got to lift Adam's layout. I hope you'll check the links below and have a look for that discount code for Dotty About Flair. Also check Adam's YouTube channel today, because he's also got another couple of giveaways on his channel. So well done, Adam, on getting 1,000 subscribers. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and that perhaps you'll get out there and scrap lift to get a little bit of inspiration and change up what you do. Thanks for watching.